Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement, this great state of Kansas. It's another 5-minute review for me. This time I'm reviewing the documentary called Jim Henson Idea Man, which is on Disney+. Documentary about the great Jim Henson, who of course created a lot of different Muppet characters and different shows, involved with Sesame Street, the Muppet Show, all the Muppet movies, Fragle Rock, and then you got actually directed two a little more darker movies with kind of Muppet characters, Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, I believe is the other one, which I haven't seen that one. I've seen Dark Crystal before, but I probably need to catch Labyrinth at some point. Anyways, but yeah, really cool documentary. It's done by Ron Howard. I mean, the great Ron Howard, Oscar-winning director. So that's cool. He's been doing some pretty good documentaries. It feels like I say I can think of this in 8 days a week. Another documentary made on the Beatles. But it's so cool to get a good director here doing a cool. I mean, someone I've always admired, I guess. I've always been a big Muppet fan, especially the Muppet movies. Big fan of all the Muppet movies and the characters. Grew up on them. Still have a lot of nostalgia for them. I think I watched Fragle Rock as a kid. I kind of barely remember that, like watching maybe some Fragle Rock or whatever as well. And then Sesame Street, of course. Everybody watched Sesame Street. Loved Sesame Street as a kid. Definitely a big part of my childhood. It's like that and like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and Reading Rainbow. Used to watch all those shows as a kid. Man, those are some good shows. Anyways, but yeah, so let's go through Jim Henson's life and how he got into the business. Very interesting, very good, the documentary on, and you get interviews, of course, with family members. I know his oldest son, Brian Henson, of course, followed him into the business and has directed some movies, including 2 Muppet movies, Muppet Treasure Island and Muppet Christmas Carol, 2 really good movies, in fact, and has done a lot in the Muppet world as well, as his dad, anyways, interesting enough. So we get a lot of good interviews with him. I also love getting interviews with Frank Oz. Frank Oz is so cool because, and I didn't know that he started kind of joining the Jim Henson company when he was like 19 years old, like right out of high school. He joined in, and I forget that Jim Henson had so much to do with not just creating the Muppets, but he also did the voices and the Muppet puppetry as well. So it's a lot of cool. This documentary has a lot of cool like behind the scenes footage of like him and Frank Oz doing characters like Bert and Ernie. That was so cool seeing them do Bert and Ernie together and kind of improvise and all that. But they did a lot together and became like best friends, which is interesting. And Frank Oz went on to direct a lot of movies, live action movies, besides one Muppet movie, I believe, and a lot of TV and stuff like that. And so he became actually a really good director himself on his own, interesting enough. But yeah, love seeing all that. Of course, we get into his personal life. His wife worked with him when they first got into like public television, whatever. He didn't really want to be a Muppet puppeteer person, but he wanted to be on TV, and so he saw there was a job for doing this on like a local television show or something like that, and so he created his own Muppets and did the voices. So man, very much, of course, also one of the most creative, innovative guys out there. That really is the godfather of all Muppet. Anytime we see anything Muppet wise, it's from the Jim Henson studio. So I mean, the guy, that's why it's called Idea Man. I mean, this guy had some great ideas. They made a big company out of it and done so much. But yeah, we get into him and his wife and how they met. She was doing the puppetry as well and was also very creative in her own right. Got married, had 5 kids. Unfortunately, it goes through the sad parts. They did get divorced. He was a workaholic. He was away from home a lot. He wasn't around his kids as much. And, so there's, a little animosity there, maybe not a bunch, but I mean, it definitely had some flaws. He was a little bit hippie-ish. I feel like he had kind of a long beard and long hair. He also did a lot of experimental filmmaking. So he was actually a very good experimental filmmaker as well. Like I said, he didn't do drugs, but he had this kind of hippie lifestyle, I think. And he kind of was almost more Buddhist-like. Like he believed when he died, he just went on a different plane. And unfortunately worked himself to death. He would get sick and he would keep working and he wouldn't go to the hospital. And eventually that caught up with him and he died kind of too young, very suddenly. It was very sad. We get all that anyways, but yeah, great documentary. I'd say Disney is doing really good stuff with documentaries. Recently, we got the Beach Boy documentary, which was awesome. Now we got Jim Henson. So of all the mistakes Disney's making, they're doing great in the documentary field. And I hope they keep doing documentaries like this. I do love these type of documentaries. And yeah, so I highly recommend this documentary if you like the Muppets or you have childhood like mine and you like Jim Henson stuff. Really cool. Definitely, I'd give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Definitely recommend. You should watch it. Jim Henson Idea Man.